Do you think Trevor needs to, have a certainly better game than the other night?
Well, I think the offense needs to have a better game than the other night. Quite frankly, we didn't do enough. I mean, we had opportunities. Obviously, missed some opportunities in the game that we need to learn from. But sometimes that's the way games go. Tight games like that, it's going to come down to this could be a defensive battle or something of that nature. Special teams did a nice job, but I think overall, offensively, as a group, coaches included need to do a little better.
And certainly, you had a good offensive game against the Chargers earlier, but I think you mentioned that yesterday. It's a long time ago. But
it's about 4 months ago, 3 months ago. So, they're different. We're different. It's postseason football. Everything matters, and we just got to prepare and get ready for a good game Saturday night.
Josh hit kind of a lull at some point in the season, and then it seems like in recent weeks he's really picked it up. What have you seen from him kind of stepping it up? I mean, obviously he had the big play, but he kind of makes the unsung plays.
He's really picked it up. No, I mean, it's good to see. It's good to see him play, his best football this time of the year. Great players do that, and we just got to keep him coming that way.
From what you've seen in your coaching lifetime in the NFL, certainly since the advent of free agency, how tough is it to sustain winning in this league? People talk about a Super Bowl window. It might be 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Obviously, what the Patriots have done is an outlier. But what do you see? And did you look at that before you took this job, about where their roster was at, salary cap, all that?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the process. Just seeing where the team currently sits and what the future holds in draft picks and capital and stuff like that. But that's why I appreciate what the Patriots have done and what Coach Belichick has done and some of the top. I mean, Andy Reid's had consistency. Whether he was back in Philly or now in Kansas City, and there's just coaches and teams that have figured that out, right? And it's to be consistent each year, man. It's every man, it's every player, it's every coach just flipping the switch and turning the page, and regardless of what happened the year before, it's over, and you got to start from ground zero again and build it back up, and that's what the top programs have done, top teams have done in this league, and that's kind of been I think the standard when you look at the history of the NFL and the teams that have consistently won year in and year out. They've had that ability to just flip the script quickly.
How much easier is it to do that if you don't have to flip the quarterback?
Well,
the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously probably the biggest key, right? When you have the quarterback piece and making sure that he understands that we got to move on quickly, and but that's a big part of it.
He's had a lot of help from those trio of new pass catchers, Ingram, Zay, and Christian. How impressive is it? It's even really rare for those guys to come in and do what they've done maybe right away.
It is rare for maybe one guy can do that. But when you have three guys come in and do that, is rare. And I think they've set some good benchmarks, for themselves and obviously for our team, and have done an outstanding job. And it's just a credit to each individual man for their work ethic, coming in and plugging in with Trevor right away, and working and paying attention to detail as we talk about, and they're all good players. They've had impacts for us, and probably wouldn't be here, if it wasn't for those three on offense for sure.
How quickly did you know the chemistry with those three and Trevor would be where it's at?
Well, I mean, it doesn't start day one, but obviously as we built through the off season and training camp, you can kind of see the rapport that they were having, on the football field and away from the field, and just the communication that I saw, out there. You knew it wasn't going to take long, that they would eventually get on the same page and really kind of figure each other out.
Doug, with a young team, do you need to make sure they understand the level, speed of the game now goes up another notch simplicity?
You do. It's one thing to, get through the regular season, and really, last week was a playoff game for us, and we understand that, and the physicality and the speed of that game, it's just going to carry over to this game. But having gone through it now with this team, I think it prepares you for what's coming next. But you have to constantly remind guys that, you know, everything we do. It's not a panic situation or nothing like. But you just got to remind them that everything we do on and off the football field this week can matter, and not only can affect your performance, but it can affect the team and the game as well.
When you look at the Chargers, statistically, on both sides of the ball, you're remarkably similar. Do they play the same way as you do? Do you see a very similar team?
Probably similar in numbers, but I think their passing numbers are a little better, than ours. Justin is a tremendous quarterback, obviously, but you see some of the similarities there, even with some of the skill receivers and what they have. Running the ball similar. Even defensively, they got really good players over there that play hard, and again, they got two of the best pass rushers in the game. And there are some similarities. I think we talked about this way back when, looking at this team and understanding that it's just you kind of have to know where 13 is on offense, right? You got to kind of know where 97, 52, maybe number 3 on defense, and some of these guys, and just making sure that you're locked into your job and focused on what you need to do, especially when there are some similarities of this magnitude.
And I know you were asking about the young quarterbacks in the AFC yesterday, but these two in particular, he's got more passing yards, but completion percentage, touchdowns, interceptions, passer rating. I mean, how similar are these two quarterbacks?
They're very similar. I think they're within a couple touchdown passes of each other, and yards and things. I think Justin has a few more yards, obviously, but very similar. Both athletic guys, both can run, extend plays, good vision. Obviously, he's been in these moments before, with his team, and so he's got a little experience over Trevor that way. But it should be a fun game to watch both of these guys play.
You see one NBC one of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's an exciting game.
How important is it just for Trevor's progression for him to have these kind of moments?
Well, I mean, you want him to have these moments, and that's the winning culture that we're trying to build here and establish, and we want to be in the conversation at the end of the season, right? And you're battering with that, but have the team playing in these meaningful games, and that's a credit to the quarterback, right? He's your leader of your team and your franchise, and these are all games that'll continue to prepare and sort of teach Trevor just how important, not only how important they are, but in the future when you're talking about these matchups, down the road.
How important is it for you to not change your level of aggressiveness on the fourth down calls in the postseason as opposed to the regular season? Or do you think about that at all, or no?
Well, you do. I mean, you're in a situation where it's a win and continue game. It's a do or die, and you want to make sure that you're doing it not recklessly, but you're still taking all the information at hand and putting your team in good situations, right? And sometimes you're
Turn it off. It's all good.
stop.
All right.
I don't know. One of them.
This is yours, right?
Yes, and that's mine, I assume.
Just
You're not gonna take it away.
Just get the notes.
I mean, like, what, are you the CIA? Government.
Anyway, back to the question.
Thanks, please.
But taking all the information and making sure that you're doing the right thing for your team. But there are going to be, there's probably going to be a little bit more of a gamble or a risk in certain situations. Just knowing that one possession here or there could determine the outcome of the game.
What have you seen out of Walker Little last month? Since he's been in there, what kind of stage is this for him against these pass rushers?
He's done a nice job for us, obviously. Type of player that we thought that he is, and he's done a good job. And this will be a really good test. These are, again, whether it's Bosa or Mack, these guys like to trade sides a little bit, but it's going to be good for him. It's going to be a good benchmark game for him and his progression. But got a lot of confidence in Walker, and what he's done here in the last month has been pretty special for us, and he's helped us win these last few games.
How bad is Sheriff hurting, and how impressive is it that he's being able to kind of fight through?
I mean, like anybody, he's sore and he is hurting, and again, it's our job as really, I'm not going to speak for, Jeff Ferguson and our medical team, but it is our job to protect the players, during the course of the week, make sure they have, all the mental information and take the mental reps, and then get the physical reps when we can, especially later in the week. But, he's a pro, and, he prepares himself that way, and again, my job is to make sure that he's as fresh as possible, come game time.
Go ahead.
Have you had a chance personally to kind of relish where you are right now and just kind of how special the regular season was? I know you can still do more special things, but just for you personally.
No, I'll wait till after the season probably to reflect back and just kind of, see what we did and everything. But, quite honestly, it's just you got to have confidence in yourself and confidence in your team and the ability to lead and sort of motivate the guys. And I do see that part of it, because I see how hard these guys practice and play during the course of the week and the games. And so from that standpoint, I can see it. But I think once the season's over, you kind of go back and go through the season, and you kind of sit down and really understand kind of what you did.
We
really only need
one time for one or two more real.
You had a 4th and half yard to go on the very first possession of the game the other night, and clearly you were trying to draw them offside and get a free first down. In that situation, would you give Trevor the option to just go ahead and run it if they don't line up anybody over the center, which was the case in that situation because it was pretty wide open?
Yeah, and look, that's a unique situation because it was early in the game. There's a lot of football ahead of us. Do you want to put your defense? If you don't make it, do you put your defense out there on a short field? And to me, points were going to matter in that game against Tennessee because a tie. I'm looking back now. A tie helps us, right? So if I give them another possession on a short field, what does that do to the outcome of the football game? Who knows what's going to play out? But yeah, Trevor, in situations like that, Trevor, can if he sees something, we ask him to take it. There's also times we ask him not to take it, and it's in that situation we were, as you said, trying to see if we couldn't get him to jump, but they did a nice job. They stayed disciplined, and we punted the football.
Rayshon's actually, I think he's basically won you 2 of your last 5 games. Now he plays the team that drafted him, that cut him. Is he the captain this week?
Actually, no, Jamal Agnew is.
Okay. Special
Yeah,
team.
Rayshon was a captain a couple weeks ago.
His special teams, was that one of the better special team performances all around?
I think so. Yeah, it was a solid group. Logan had a great day punting the football. Our gunners had a nice job of getting down the field, corralling the ball, corralling the returner. Something we talk about each week. I thought, and even some of the kickoffs, that were a little bit short. We did a nice job of getting down there and stopping some bigger gains. But yeah, I thought overall, special teams played a big part in that win last week.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Appreciate it. Fine.